students. This is lecture 6 and the final lecture, and in this we will revise what we have learnt in our course book theme 1 and in primary writing unit 1 and 2. So let us revise what we have learnt in the past few weeks. We have learnt about loan words. There are certain words that we take from various or other languages, and because we have loaned them from other languages, they are known as or referred to as loan words. Some of the examples are there in your books, but the ones that I had collected for you have been given here. Guru has come from Sanskrit, safari Arabic, avatar Sanskrit, cigar Spanish, cookies Dutch, ketchup is Chinese, lemon is from Arabic, metropolis is Greek, utensil is French, entrepreneur is French, and cartoon is Italian. So it is quite interesting if we try to find out from where we have taken or derived these words. We also learnt food related similes and idioms. So we will remember them. Please do not forget them and use them wherever possible. What were these? Packed together like sardines, 2 peas in a pod, as red as beetroot, blushing in embarrassment, as cool as cucumber, different as chalk and duster, and being in the soup. All these situations are very common and very ordinary situations, and I'm sure we'll be able to use these similes and idioms as often as possible. Now we had learned some vocabulary, some verbs that are used while cooking, which are common for our recipes. Please go through them, and we need to go through the ones that are very, very common that we use in our daily cooking. You may ignore the ones that are not useful to you, but remember the ones that you use in an ordinary way or commonly in your kitchen. Yes, especially the rolling pin. Don't call a blender mixie, just call it a blender, which sounds very well. Another thing is the ladle, spatula, mesh skimmer, grater, yes, bowl, peeler. These are the common ones that we use, so please remember them. Now other vocabulary that we had learned: potato masher, which is important, yes, tongs, ice cream scoop, slotted spoon, plastic cutting boards or wooden cutting boards. Now colander is another one that you should remember. So from this, these were the important ones. We have a small one, juicer. Garlic press is another nice one that you can remember. And on your left corner bottom, we have the rolling pin and the rolling board. So remember these and don't forget. In the same way, this is a very nice word which you may remember, apple core. Yes, you have the core of an apple and peeler. So in the on the one on your right, you have both. You have core, the circular one right in the beginning or in the front, yes, with which you can enter or remove the core of an apple, and peeler, de-skinning the apple, and below you have the apple core and slicer. It will also slice the apple. We had learnt about imperatives, in which when we refer to the second person, you is dropped. It is used for giving instructions. Please close the door. It means you please close the door, but we avoid the use of you. We also use them commonly in recipes. We do not say you add flour, you mix the coconut milk. We just say add flour, mix in the coconut milk. Now the recipes that you have been given, you are giving to me, please remember that these sentences or instructions should be very short and to the point. Please do not use more words in between. We need to avoid as many as possible. The verb, the nouns, and all other things that are really essential to get through the person who is reading the recipe, use only those. Alright? Now, to give a command or to show annoyance, we also use imperatives. So, in everyday speech, we use be quick, don't go now, try harder, come here, listen, stop, etc. So, this is the use of imperatives in our daily language. We had learnt about poems, rhyme scheme, which I had taught you, that there are many poems which have a rhyme scheme. For instance, we have A. What do we have? A, B, B, A. Swept, may, lay, crept. Yes, so swept and crept, A. May and lay, B. And then we have a repetition of B when we have say away. Yes, wept, slept, wept is again A. But then we have a new word, and that is fold, cold, which is C. His is D. Head, dead, E. So when the words are rhyming and the scheme they follow, it is called the rhyme scheme. But if these words do not rhyme, then we say it is a free verse poem, where the last words in the poem do not follow any rhyme scheme. Happy, rain, caught, leaves, mysterious, autumn, gift, here, road. Nothing is matching and nothing is rhyming. So this is a free verse poem. For instance, we had Mr. Khan's Shop, which is a free verse poem. We had learnt a word requiem. And what is a requiem? Requiem is a poem or a song that is composed or written on the death of someone. Yes, and we had just taken an example of a requiem on the death of a dog. So requiem, remember this word and remember all the good vocabulary that we use while writing. Now come to primary writing. In this we had done modal verbs. Now modal verbs are used for ability, permission, advice, obligation and possibility. You have to memorize this table, and in this table what will you memorize? Type and modal verbs, so that you know in which situation to use which modal verb. So please memorize this. We had learnt approximates, and we use approximates for statistics and data to give clarity, but they are not exact statistics. They are just approximates. That means roundabout, nearly, around, about, approximately, just under, just over, a quarter, less than a tenth, just over, over one third. And we also use them for rendering advice, giving or offering a suggestion. Yes, so remember these were the approximates. We had also learnt about intensifiers. When we feel more intensely about a certain situation, we use an intensifier. For instance, when we feel very hot, we say extremely hot. Or when a situation is very difficult, we say extremely difficult, very difficult, really difficult. And when we do not feel extremely about or intensively about a situation, it is somewhat or strong on an average way, in an average way, then we use rather or quite. Means considerably, not too much, rather or quite. And when we feel just a little about a situation, we use fairly, yes, pretty or somewhat. It means a little, not too much. So we need to use these in our writings. We had also learned some examples or seen a few examples. Absolutely packed. absolutely delicious, absolutely parched, starving, terrified, completely astonished, totally exhausted, truly marvelous. So these are some ways or some intensifiers that we can use in our writings. And you may just revise these examples again. Now we had also seen different ways of making predictions. So whenever you need to give your opinion or make predictions, do not use I think over and over again. You may use in my opinion, in my view, I believe, it seems to me, I predict, I foresee a strong possibility. Now please memorize these, not the sentences, but different ways in which you can predict or give your opinions. Alright? So go through these and just learn them. Another thing that we had learnt was, whenever we have to do any writing, first of all make a spidergram. Before making a spidergram, please do not begin writing, otherwise your writing will not be interesting and it will not be vivid. It will not create a clear picture or paint a clear picture about what you are trying to describe or write. Yes, so whenever you have a narrative, first of all think about the feelings, emotions, yes, and write the words that you will be using in your writing to describe feelings and emotions. Think of all the vocabulary, phrases, yes, about the people in the picture or the narrative that you are going to write. Similes, metaphors and alliterations. What are similes? As stubborn as mad as, yes, as hot as sincere as hardworking as. Simile means similar, like, as. And metaphors. In metaphors, when we directly say that the person is, yes, for example, a stone, that person is an emerald, that person is beautiful, not as beautiful as, alright. He is a stubborn mule, he is a mad hornet, he is a hungry lion. Then these are metaphors, alright. Alliterations are repetitions. Yes, we had learnt a number of tongue twisters where we had repetitions. These are alliterations, alright. Now miscellaneous, there was a problem with some of you. Miscellaneous means any other information that may come to your mind or words may come to your mind, you may just put in this box to be used later. That is called miscellaneous, something that you may use or you may not use. Your opinion, please remember, always in the end give your opinion. And when you are giving your opinion, you may use in my opinion, I view, it seems to be, and you may use them like this. Alright? Then finally, please remember, use quotes or sayings or proverbs in your writing. For example, I had given you a few examples. Every cloud has a silver lining. That means there was a difficult situation, but in the end, the situation became better and everything was normal. Or, for example, I had quoted from William Shakespeare, all's well that ends well. That means there were problems, but ultimately in the end it was a happy ending. So we had learned how to make a spidergram and how to use them in our writing. Alliteration, like I had told you, we had learned, which is repetition. It was a delicious end to a delightful day. See the repetition of D or the repetition of M. There were some examples and just a few just to remind you. Number 2, Peter was a polite, patient, pleasant, and punctual person. See all the P's? And immediately the reader's attention goes to the alliterations. So this is how your writing becomes more effective and beautiful. Number 3, the small white clouds sailed slowly, silently, with serenity across the sky. Yes, so you can use commas behind sailed, after sailed slowly. Yes, so they are not here, but please put them. In the same way, he looked dangerous, determined, desperate, and deadly. So this is how you can make your writing beautiful, by using alliterations. And most of our writings did not have alliterations. So now you see, we are strengthening ourselves by learning what are intensifiers, similes, alliterations. But if we do not use them, then it is of no use. Yes, so make sure that you sprinkle a few of these in your writings whenever you write. Metaphoric language and similes, this is what we had learned. Yes, now I think it was quite difficult for you because most of us made mistakes here. Let us go through again. Let us go through these once again. Metaphor is directly saying that the person is something. Yes, for example, she is a sleepy bear. No comparison, like or as. She is a sleepy bear. She is a hard rock. She has a heart of a rock. She is stone-hearted. You understand? Directly the thing. But in similes we use like or as. She sleeps like a bear. She is as sleepy as a bear. You see the difference between a metaphor and a simile? Yes? So in a simile we use like and as. It is a must. And remember what we are trying to say, that a person is similar, simile. Alright? So go through these sentences again and try to differentiate between metaphoric language and similes. Alright? So that's it. This is all that we had learnt in our course book and in our primary writing. Please consolidate. If you have any problem, you may get back to me and clarify your doubts. After that, please wait for your holiday homework. Thank you.